This is CBN NewsWatch.
It is Friday, March 27th. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Ephraim Graham. We begin with Congress, poised to pass a much-needed relief for Americans that could show up in mailboxes in just weeks. This as major U.S. cities brace for the possibility of becoming hotspots like New York. At the same time, projected global numbers for the pandemic are revised down, but the U.S. now leads the world in confirmed cases of the coronavirus. At the same time, projected global numbers for the pandemic have been revised down. Today, the House plans to pass a $2.2 trillion economic rescue bill after it passed the Senate 96-0. Checks could arrive in mailboxes by the first week in April, just in time, the chairman of the Federal Reserve says the economy may be well into a recession. But today, a glimmer of light. The report from Imperial College London that predicted widespread infections along with 2 million deaths in the U.S. and reportedly helped the Trump administration take serious steps against the virus has been revised down. Dr. Deborah Birx says the model never matched the reality on the ground.
People start talking about 20% of a population getting infected. It's very scary. But we don't have data that matches that based on the experience.
And despite reports about shortages, Dr. Birx says ICU beds are still available in New York, along with thousands of ventilators. We want to show you some of the latest numbers from Johns Hopkins, which has a global tracker of the virus. As you can see, there are 808,000 confirmed cases worldwide, with 24,127 deaths and 123,312 people who have recovered. Dr. James Dobson says that he applauds the governors of Texas and Ohio for halting abortions during the pandemic. Dobson of the James Dobson Family Institute says, quote, "Abortion is neither health care nor essential. Thankfully, some governors are taking action and issuing executive orders to halt elective surgeries. This should most certainly include abortion procedures." Texas Governor Greg Abbott and Ohio Governor Mike DeWine are two who have acted decisively and boldly. They have my deepest thanks. But where are the other 48? Dobson went on to say citizens of those 48 states should call on their governors to do the same. Ohio Governor Mike DeWine was way ahead of the nation with early moves to combat the coronavirus. Before his state had any known cases, he shut down a big sports festival. After just 3 weeks, he shut down the entire K-12 school system. He spoke with CBN's David Brody about how his faith is influencing his decision-making.
Governor, you're a father of 8, a grandfather of 24. You're a devout Catholic. I'm wondering about your faith and how it informs what you're doing through this crisis and how you've relied on your faith during this crisis. Can you talk to me a little bit about that?
Sure. I mean, I think this is, if there's ever a time when you need to make decisions based on what you think are the best interest of people, it's a crisis like this. And, you know, I think the essential function of government is to protect people. And so that's what my faith tells me. My faith tells me that every life is precious, whether it's the unborn, after it's born, basically from conception to natural death. And so this is a matter of life and death. We are dealing with people's lives, and the decisions that I make will determine, to some extent, you know, whether people are going to live or not live.
And you can see the full interview at our website, that's cbnnews.com. President Donald Trump has touted hydroxychloroquine as a game changer in the battle against the coronavirus. While there isn't sufficient clinical studies to prove its effectiveness just yet, one Florida man says the anti-malaria drug saved his life.
Okay, I'm here with my ride or die. They're coming home.
With his wife beside him, Rio Giardineri drove home late Tuesday night from a hospital in South Florida, calling his survival of COVID-19 nothing short of a miracle.
You go from what you feel is death's bed to feeling great in 10 hours. To me, call it what you will, but to me, I'll call it a miracle.
The Florida-based businessman thinks he got infected with the coronavirus about 2 weeks ago while attending a conference in New York. Last Friday evening, after 9 days of running a high fever, severe cough and body aches, doctors told the 52-year-old that there was nothing more they could do to help him.
I didn't think I'd see Saturday morning. Made phone calls to family and friends to say my goodbyes. And Yeah, very much so. Thought it was my last day on earth.
That evening, a close friend of 43 years told him about hydroxychloroquine, the anti-malaria drug that's had some success in treating COVID-19 patients overseas.
At that point, I'd never even heard of the medicine before. Hydroxychloroquine was totally alien to me.
Giardineri consulted with an infectious disease doctor who told him there isn't sufficient clinical studies to prove the drug's effectiveness in combating the virus.
My statement to him was simply, I don't think I'll be here in the morning, so I'm willing to try anything.
Late Friday evening, doctors at Memorial Regional Hospital in South Florida started him on a course of hydroxychloroquine.
And I woke up at 4:45 in the morning, looking right at the clock, and it dawned on me that all of a sudden I could breathe. I was pretty amazed, and I knew that I didn't have a fever. I didn't feel it anymore.
He was discharged 3 days later.
Made it out, escaped from Alcatraz, heading home to start my segregation.
CBN News spoke to him Wednesday afternoon as he started his quarantine.
I'm not a scientist. I'm not a doctor. And I don't have any scientific facts to back it up. I can only tell you I went to sleep in major pain with a fever for 9 days that wouldn't shake. And when I woke up at 4:45 in the morning, I was feeling great. I mean, to the point that I felt I could have gone out in the boat.
Infectious disease experts are trying an array of therapeutic options for fighting COVID-19.
And what we're finding is there's a bunch of different medications, one of which being the chloroquine that a lot of people have been talking about, that seems to have some effect on this virus and has been used in the past.
In New York, the epicenter of America's coronavirus outbreak, hospitals started clinical trials with hydroxychloroquine this week in combination with the commonly used Z-Pak.
We have secured 70,000 hydrochloroquine, 10,000 Zithromax from the federal government. I want to thank the FDA for moving very expeditiously to get us this supply.
A surprising discovery in a crypt at Washington's National Cathedral has been donated to help coronavirus first responders.
Had a little bit of grace at the cathedral this week. We discovered that we had in the crypt thousands of N95 masks that we have had here at the cathedral since the possible outbreak of avian bird flu years ago. And we've discovered that the masks are still good and useful.
5,000 of those masks, as you heard, were found inside the crypt. A longtime cathedral mason found the stash. The church has now donated the masks to 2 D.C. hospitals, including a children's hospital. Be sure to stay with us for the latest on the coronavirus as we provide updates on the CBN News channel and at cbnnews.com. Coming up, it is something most voters in Israel thought would never happen when it comes to creating a unity government, what it means for them and their relationship with the United States. Right after this.
Life is better with a good night's sleep. Get your free DVD or booklet of Protect Your Sleep as the world watches from the outside.
It's a big diplomatic tug-of-war here in the Middle East.
Go inside the story with Jerusalem Dateline.
Israeli archaeologists are talking about a discovery that could change the thinking about the Temple Mount.
Join CBN Jerusalem Bureau Chief Chris Mitchell and get the biblical perspective on the events shaping the world.
It's what starts in Israel, then ends up going to other places.
Watch Jerusalem Dateline, Friday night at 9:30 on the CBN News Channel.
Life. It's meant to be lived fully. Jesus said it. I came to give you life. Life to the fullest. Life in your family. Life in your finances. Life in your body, mind, and spirit. life in your everyday. At CBN.com, we're taking what Jesus said seriously. We're here to help you discover life. Life. Live it fully. CBN.com.
In one of the biggest turnarounds in Israel's political history, Benny Gantz of the opposition Blue and White Party has reportedly agreed to join a national unity government with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. The coronavirus pandemic played a major role in the political breakthrough. In a speech before a nearly empty Knesset because of COVID-19, Gantz said why he made his decision.
Let's join hands and take Israel out of the crisis it is in. Together, let us put Israel before anything else.
According to the deal, Gantz would become either foreign or defense minister, while Netanyahu will remain prime minister for 18 months until 2021. Then Gantz will become prime minister. Joining us now from Jerusalem to talk more about this political breakthrough is CBN Middle East Bureau Chief Chris Mitchell. So, Chris, tell us what led to this breakthrough and how it could affect Israel's relationship with the United States.
Well, Ephraim, first of all, I'd say it'd be a combination of politics and patriotism. First of all, the politics. What the poll showed was that Gantz and his Blue and White Party were losing support because they refused to join a government with Netanyahu, especially in light of the coronavirus. Second, obviously, it was good for the country, and that's what Gantz said. He did take a political risk. Right now, his Blue and White Party, which was actually a combination of 3 political parties, is no more. The other 2 parties refused to join the government. So really, the political majority he had, or the large party he had, is no more. It was a victory for Netanyahu. Right now, Gantz will be prime minister after Netanyahu serves for the next 18 months. That will be sometime in 2021. It also could delay the trials of Benjamin Netanyahu. And in terms of helping the relationships with the U.S., I think finally that Israel has a stable government. I think that will improve the relationships with the U.S., and particularly in light of the peace plan that was announced by the Trump administration just a few weeks ago.
So how else is Israel dealing with the coronavirus?
Well, pretty severely, just like many places in the U.S. We're almost in a total shutdown right now. Now, you can't leave your home about 100 meters. You can walk about 100 meters, which is about a little more than 100 yards outside your home. They have set up checkpoints, and people cannot go out of their homes unless they go into the grocery store, to doctors, hospital, or even a pharmacy. So very severely limited right now. There's over 3,000 that have been infected, and right now they're trying to get ahead of that curve that Dr. Fauci's been talking about there in the coronavirus task force at the White House. And so it's affecting us personally. Here we are. I have to take my temperature when I come to work, and so does everyone here in the office. And, of course, taking a mask to the grocery store or outside. But so it's affecting, more than 1.5 billion people directly here in Jerusalem, there in the U.S. where you are, Ephraim.
So I understand you're doing something to help people through their stay-at-home orders. Tell us about that.
There's 2 things we want to do, Ephraim. First of all, we have a virtual tour every day. Since people can't come here to Israel, we want to take Israel to them. We have stories from the Galilee, from here in Jerusalem. We go to the Garden Tomb or the Dead Sea. And so each and every day we have a new story, so people, when they're quarantined or staying at home, we can take Israel to them. We're also having daily Facebook Lives where we read Scripture, pray with people, and give an update of what's happening here in Israel.
So what do you have for us on this week's Jerusalem Dateline?
Well, we'll have more on the political breakthrough right now, and we have 2 special stories. One is on anti-Semitism. Tragically, when something like this happens, who do people blame? Many people blame the Jewish people. Iran has done that. Some people in Turkey have done that. You can see it online. We have that story. We also have a very encouraging story about Aliyah. In the midst of a global pandemic, what the Hebrew scriptures say would happen thousands of years ago, that Jews are still coming back to the land of promise. We have a story on that. And finally, we're going to honor Pat Robertson for his 90th birthday, and we just appreciate being able to serve under the CBN founder who's really made a mark here in Israel and around the world.
Indeed, we're all honored to serve. Chris, thank you so much. I want to remind you at home that you can catch Jerusalem Dateline tonight with Chris Mitchell on the CBN News Channel. It begins at 9:30 Eastern Standard Time. Still ahead, Luke Smallbone talks about a night of hope for King and Country is putting together for the nation. Stay with us.
On October 1st, 1961, history was made when a tiny station began transmitting the first signals of the Christian Broadcasting Network.
CBN, the Christian Broadcasting Network.
And now, a new era has begun with the all-new CBN News Channel.
Just moments ago, the Iron Dome intercepted an incoming rocket right on the Gaza border.
Administering in this area, spiritual warfare is definitely involved.
A 24/7 news network, bringing you the news you want from a source you can trust.
In Kenya, 40% of the medical services are actually provided by these Christian hospitals.
Let's talk about the economy.
Believers here are joining together to win people to Jesus Christ.
All your favorite shows now in one place. Go to cbnnewschannel.com to find out how to get the CBN News Channel on your TV all day, every day. CBN News. Life is better with a good night's sleep. Get your free DVD or booklet of Protect Your Sleep today.
Life. It's meant to be lived fully. Jesus said it. I came to give you life. Life to the fullest. Life in your family. Life in your finances. Life in your body, mind, and spirit. Life in your everyday. At CBN.com, we're taking what Jesus said seriously. We're here to help you discover life. Life. Live it fully. CBN.com.
The Grammy Award-winning Christian band for King and Country is going to do something they've never done before, a virtual concert to bring the nation a night of hope. CBN's Charlene Aaron talked with a member of the band, Luke Smallbone, about what the big online event will be and what inspired them.
We kind of, in response to just seeing where everybody's at, I think ourselves included, realized that I think we all kind of need a moment of encouragement, a moment where we can reflect on the things and the reasons why we're hopeful. And so we've got an event coming up Friday at 7 p.m. Central, so this Friday, and it's called Together, a Night of Hope. And I think for a lot of us, we feel very isolated, but yet even just the things like we've got going on here with Zoom, there's virtual ways that we can feel together. There's virtual ways that we can feel like we are in this together. And so that's what we essentially designed this night around, and we're really looking forward to it.
And you have some really special people joining you. I understand Kirk Franklin and Kathy Lee Gifford. Tell us about who's going to be kind of logging on, connecting with you on that night.
Absolutely. Well, we rethought to ourselves that, you know, if we're going to do something, let's make it particularly impactful and meaningful. And maybe there's other people that we're friends with that have a word or a different perspective than what we did. And so Kathy Lee has been a friend for a while. We did years ago, did an event with her when she was on television, which was very sweet. And so she's going to come in and kind of just have a little bit of a moment and chat with us. And then Kirk Franklin and ourselves, we've known each other for many years and had this idea of what would it look like to work together. So we're actually going to talk a little bit about what that looks like. We've got kind of a little sneak peek. We've worked on a song together, and so, but that's not real. That's hush hush right now.
I was going to ask you about the new song that you're going to debut. Oh my God!
Well, he may or may not have something to do with that. We don't know. And so we're going to chat a little bit about just what's going on in his life, but also these moments that we've got together.
That's awesome. And for people who are going to be tuning in, what are you wanting them to walk away from or to to log off feeling after that is over with?
Yeah, well, I think our hope is that people won't feel as alone. I think even for Christians, we're very convinced of where we're at and where we find truly our hope in. But at the end of the day, we need reminders of that hope. You know, we need reminders of that, hey, there's somebody else going through, job loss, or there's somebody else that's going through sickness. There's other people. And what do you do with that? And I think that's why in the Bible it talks so much about community, is because we get to share in each other's burdens and lift each other up. And my hope is that this night will be that for others, that it'll be a night where people don't feel so isolated, that people don't feel so alone. And I hope that they leave that night feeling built up, ready to take on another day. For most of the country, the next day will once again be kind of in quarantine, right? We'll be in this kind of self-isolated, we're trying to keep our distance, no more than 10 people, all those different things that we know so much about now. I hope that they wake up the next day feeling equipped to take on those challenges.
And we'll be back with more of Charlene's interview with Luke Smallbone as he explains the technology that is bringing the band together for the concert from their homes. And he's got some encouraging words for all of us. Stay with us.
Life is better with a good night's sleep. Get your free DVD or booklet of Protect Your Sleep today.
I'm Efrem Graham, and this is Studio 5. Cruise with me as I discover the good things happening in the world of music, sports, television, and movies.
The fact that Ryan Coogler was going to be directing the film, I knew that something special was going to happen.
We'll chat with artists at the forefront of entertainment and explore the connection between popular culture and faith.
I asked my pastor, I said, well, does that mean I'm supposed to be a preacher? He says, well, no, you already have a pulpit.
Watch Studio 5 Wednesday night at 9:30.
Remember for a moment what it was like to be a child. You believed every story you were told. You saw a world full of endless possibilities. What stories will the world's orphaned and at-risk children believe? We believe the Bible tells the only story truly worth believing. We believe that every child should have the opportunity to dream, the chance to take challenges and turn them into possibilities, the chance to stand on the promises of God, to recognize their place in the greatest story ever told. They have their whole lives ahead of them. Theirs is a world of endless possibilities. They are looking for a story to believe. We will tell them that story. Will you join us?
And welcome back to CBN NewsWatch. We are back with more of our interview with For King and Country's Luke Smallbone. He's talking about the inspiration for this special night. He also has a word God gave him that he wants to share. And he's pulling back the curtain and giving us a look at what the band will do to pull off the event from their homes.
And you're going to be doing this in your home.
Yeah.
And it'll be on Facebook.
Yeah.
That's going to be pretty cool. I mean, the technology.
Yeah, we've never done anything quite like it before, so wish us luck if there's such a thing. In that I've got a cabin that has been on my property here for years, and we haven't always necessarily known even what to do with it. But we thought, well, this would be a cool moment to actually film something in there. But what we're doing, we're actually, all the band guys that work with this, they're in their own homes. And it's just Joel and I in our home. So we're actually making this music virtual, it's cyber-like, in the sense that the other guys, like our drummer, won't even be in the same room with us. Thanks to technology, we're able to kind of make music without actually being in the same room together, and they'll be playing along at the same time as we're singing. The technology behind it is kind of mind-blowing.
Yes.
It's a little bit overwhelming, so we all hope it goes well technically. But that's the theory, and that's that's kind of the blueprint of the night, that we'll be able to make this music from each individual's home but we'll be able to make it together as one.
My last question to you, for those who are watching and who, there's a lot of anxiety right now, a lot of fear right now, a lot of uncertainty right now. Life is just not the norm right now. What's your takeaway for people right now? What do you want people to take away right now?
Well, I had something very unique happen to me at the end of last year, and that is my wife has always been someone who's kind of had New Year's resolutions, and she'll have like, my word for this year is, and I'm all like, hey, that's great for you. And I actually wish that I had something like that for myself, but I've never really had those, this is the year that I'm going to do this, or this is my word. I've never had anything like that. Up until this year, towards the end of this year, I had a word, and I felt like that word was pray. And I was like, pray. I mean, it's kind of very vanilla, but at the same time, I didn't know what was coming for our nation. I didn't know what was going to take place around the world. And I think that my word actually for people is, in this season of intense uncertainty, is to pray. I think that a lot of times on our money here in America, we say, in God we trust. But a lot of times the way that we live our life is, in myself I trust. If I can't figure this out, then then maybe there's no hope. And that's where I think prayer comes in. I think prayer is this casting our burdens on someone who is so much stronger, who is all powerful, who understands, who is not surprised by this pandemic, right?
No, absolutely.
My encouragement for people is to pray, is to be people that, even in your uncertainty, my wife used to give me a hard time early on in our marriage. She'd be like, when we pray at night, you kind of sound like the Pope. They're not real prayers. They're like these kind of like self-filtered prayers. And I was like, she's right. And what I realized is God can handle our stress. God can handle our anger at times. God can handle our worry. He can handle our anxiety. And even if our prayers are anxious prayers, I think he wants to hear those prayers.
Amen. I think that is a positive, powerful word, and doesn't sound like the Pope right now. Thank you.
And you can go to For King and Country's Facebook page for more details on the concert. It starts this evening at 8 o'clock Eastern Time, 7 Central. Right now, it is time for your Friday Faithful, and this can never be said too much. God is faithful in good times and tough times. He is still God, and he is still good. I encourage you to speak those words throughout the day, no matter what you're facing. In the face of it all, know this: God is still God, and God is still good. With that word, I encourage you to make today a fabulous Friday, and be sure to have yourself a wonderful weekend. Even under a lockdown, you can do just that. That is going to do it for this edition of CBN NewsWatch. I want to remind you that you can always find more of our news programs on the CBN News channel, and you can find them at any time. You can also find them online at cbnnews.com. We would love to know what you think about the stories you've seen here, or perhaps you have some story suggestions. Email us. The address is newswatch@cbn.com. And you can find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. We hope you'll join us again right here next time. Again, I wish you a fabulous Friday and a wonderful weekend. We'll see you right back here Monday. Goodbye, everybody, and God bless.